What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're driving a 2016 BMW M3. This is chassis code F80 with a 6-speed manual gearbox, which feels absolutely delightful. We'll talk about that in a second. The specs: this has a 3-liter turbocharged straight 6 from the factory, making somewhere north of 400 horsepower. This one, however, has been modified and makes, what is it, about 500? Yeah, roughly 500. This is the owner.
What's up?
He was on the channel.
Everyone.
He was on the channel before with his Mark 7 GTI, which he no longer owns. No, Unfortunately. Satya, tell us a little bit about this car. How'd you get into it? What are some mods?
So this wasn't a planned purchase, if I'm honest.
Yep.
At the time, I was just I went back to Austin, Texas, to visit my family. We managed to find this one in Beaumont, which is just a city outside of like the Houston area, and we're just driving 4 hours all the way from like Austin to Beaumont to the BMW dealership, and then yeah, I had an M3 that day. So
you picked this up, and so the story goes. I think you put coilovers on this. You modified the shifter a little bit too, right?
I've put not coilovers, but what's called the KW Haas height adjustable springs.
Yep.
So they're basically like lowering springs, but they have the adjustability of a coilover without paying coilover prices.
That's actually really nice. Yeah.
And then from the dealer, it came with a Dinan axle back, and then I also have Burger Motorsport open cone intakes. I also did a tune as well with MHD.
We'll put the list of modifications in the description down below so you can go look, but let's go ahead and take the F80 M3 on the road and see how it drives. I actually really like the way that these sound. Okay, sensitive throttle.
Remember, you got auto rev match on.
Oh, auto rev match is on. Okay,
yeah.
Did not know that. All right, copy that. So some initial impressions here. It does feel a little bit bigger. It does feel its size compared to some of the older M3s as far as the suspension goes, but there's actually still a fair amount of feel in here, which is nice. Brake pedal feels good. It's got good initial bite. It's not too stiff. Just feels nice. The shifter here, the upgraded shifter you put in here, feels fantastic. People complain about BMW shifters being rubbery. This one does not suffer from that issue at all.
But I improved it even more with this setup now.
Oh, I do love that sound. You can hear a little bit of blow off from the Burger Motorsports intake. Yeah. Oh, legit, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up, but listen to that.
The little click. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's nice. That's nice.
That's the result of putting the polyurethane bushing instead of the factory rubber.
For the self-centering bushing?
For the carrier arm.
Oh, the carrier. Yup. I know exactly what you're talking about. Steering, the steering itself is pretty numb. I think most of the driver's inputs I get are from my driver's seat, which is the one complaint I've heard people have about new BMWs. But honestly, for a modern car, it's pretty much as good as you're gonna get for a car this size and everything. Gotta be careful with the throttle there and take off.
I do have a clutch stop installed on this car as well, like I did with my GTI.
Yep.
So, shortens the throw a little bit.
Yeah, no, clutch feels good. It's not too springy, it's linear, bite point feels good. I like the metal pedals on this too. My feet really like this kind of stay on them. Handles the elevation change really well. The car feels very composed and very flat. The camera's not going to pick it up very well, but there's a lot of elevation change on this road. So this car's doing a pretty good job at regulating that for us. Yeah, it feels very composed, very dialed in. That's quick. Holy smokes. Wow. Yeah, that's quick. That'll get you into trouble real fast if you're not paying attention.
That's why you need one of these.
Yup, exactly. These are the kind of turns that this car is good at. Big, longer sweepers. That feels good. The power in this car feels correct, honestly. It is a lot of horsepower, but the car can take it really well. It's got the big, wide hips with fat, meaty rear tires. It puts it down really nicely.
So, sport throttle, and then you're in sport everything now. Difference right now will be your throttle response, and you'll hear the intakes a little bit more.
Okay. Oh, yep. Throttle response is immediately different.
Regarding the exhaust, what you're hearing is actual, real exhaust noise, because I've turned off the active sound design.
Yep. It sounds good. People complain about the sound on this car, but I don't think it's that deserved. I'm not going to say it sounds as beautiful as an S54, you know, with carbon intakes or anything, because I mean, that's kind of unfair to any other car. But it doesn't sound bad. It's like, it's a good sound. It makes turbo noises, which are always a pleasant experience. I love these gauge faces too. The last analog gauges that we got, and
yeah, I really appreciate the analog cluster too, because they have a digital feature on the bottom, but then they also, like, you know, they keep it simple and very modern looking, I'd say.
100%. I had to go a little slow on the shifts there, although honestly I probably could have gone quicker. It seems like traction control was doing wonders for me there.
Yeah.
The lights just kicking on. Yeah, this...
You will spin in first and second if you just go all out.
Oh, 100%.
With this tune.
Yeah, no, it's got a lot of power. You have to respect the car. If you don't, this car will get you into trouble.
That's exactly what my brother-in-law told me.
I like the induction noise in higher gears too. You get that like nice growl at like 3,000.
Yep.
Yeah. That's an iconic noise, honestly. It's quick. There we go. Now I got the heel toe. Okay. It is all in our hands now. No more auto rev match.
Yep. Car says you're on your own. Except for traction control, of course.
Oh yeah. No,
I would never turn that off.
We're leaving that on. Yeah. We're leaving that on. No.
Which, actually, well, no. There is MDM mode also, which is what I use when I want to have some fun but not die.
Yeah, not die. Right. Now this car really eats up these roads. The elevation change, the dips in the road. It's just so planted and composed. It's very fluid. The front end just bites in. Really nice. I can tell you I've taken these same roads, my M3, not that long ago, and it does not... My E36 is not fair as well. That car, it does not like these. All these bumps. Of course, it's an old car. Everything creaks and rattles, you know. There we go. You gotta kind of meet it on the blip. If you don't give it enough, it's not gonna come up enough. There we go. Oh, nice.
You also hear the burbles now?
Yup.
I didn't go too obnoxious with it. I just, in MHD they have what's called the different modes, and you have ranging from OEM to like hard, which is like most aggressive, of course. And then so I kept it to OEM, so you just get like a nice little half a second crackle pop here there. Of course, if you're really aggressive, like right now, you're gonna hear a lot more pops. But
no, it sounds really good. It's very tasteful. It's not too loud. It's just like, no, it's a very nice blend of like you hear it, but it's not too in your face, and you can kind of get it to shut up when you want it to.
Yeah.
So it feels really nice. I like this. This is tasteful. This is very tasteful. Okay, I do like the auto rev match on this, but I really like rev matching this myself. It's very easy. It's very fun. I will say, if you're not used to driving a lot of modern cars, it will take you a bit to get used to, because the throttle pedal itself is kind of a low point. I mean, electronic throttle, there's only so much you can do to give you a lot of feedback. But once you get used to it, it's very easy to use, and it's very intuitive. It just kind of makes sense with your foot. That will never get old.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. First time I heard that when I tested it out, I was like, oh wow, this is... I don't even know if I need a short shift in it anymore.
Right. This thing sounds so nice. I really dig the noise this car makes from the cabin.
Yeah. I do plan on making it louder though.
It's very smooth, very composed, very German actually. Yeah. And you can really tell where a lot of the old M3 bits kind of shine in here, but where they started to go more modern, get more refined, and try to make this a lot more of like, kind of like a GT car, honestly. It does really give you the best of all worlds. I actually said this about another car in the past. I forget what car I said it about, but all of the guys with older M3s, they try to turbo their cars to create like this super fast modern performance, modern driving experience. And a lot of those guys who think that build those turbo cars underestimate how much it actually costs to make a fully well done, well-rounded car. So they get the power there, but then they don't do the everything else. And what you end up having is a one-trick wonder, or a one-pole wonder, as you might like to say. And that's all it does. But this feels like the modern, you know, if the factory had built one of those old, you know, hot rodded out M3s with a turbo on it, if the factory built it, this is what it would feel like. It's got the wide fenders, it's got enough tire there. It just feels like a complete, well-rounded car.
Like 4K maybe.
Woo, she's fast. Oh man. Wow.
So yeah, MDM mode is essentially just a intermediate between traction fully on and traction fully off. So it allows some wheel slip, but once it gets to that point where it senses that you're about to lose control, that's when it intervenes to save you.
Yeah, no, I felt that there. Let it spin in first, and then when I went to second, it then just started cutting power. So it didn't let me do the 1-2 chirp, which honestly is like, you know, for a car like this, it feels very good.
You said you've always wanted maybe like an M2 or something.
Yeah, so out of all the modern BMWs, I think my favorite, I haven't driven it, but I really like the way the last gen M2 looks. So the F87?
F87.
Yes, okay, I knew it. I knew the F chassis. So I think it's just it seems like the perfect car. It's like this, but a little smaller, basically. And this, I'm really liking this.
brake traction, but you could feel it squirm a little bit.
Oh, definitely in first gear we broke traction there. Second gear, so all right, I've now figured this out. In the second gear, it cuts power so that you don't continue the slide, which is probably a good thing because honestly, where most people crash is when they do that really hard 1-2 shift and then the car just and they're not paying attention.
Offsets the balance.
Yeah, because they're not paying attention. This thing is very confidence-inspiring. I think this has a lot more driver's feedback than people give it credit for. It really, I'm not going to say it feels as nimble as the older M3s. It doesn't. But for a car this size, it's impressive that it's as composed and flat as it is.
Yeah, it's not like you're driving like a 60s muscle car here.
No,
like no
absolutely
assists.
Not. Tons of grip. And honestly, if you ever start to lose grip, getting back on throttle, you just regain it back immediately. That concludes our test drive of the F80 M3. And it's a really nice driving car. You know, modern BMWs have gotten so much bigger, and people complain about the size and the proportions, and people rave on the internet, oh, the driver's feedback is gone. But I think anyone that's saying that on the internet hasn't driven one. It's not as good as the old ones, but that's the wrong expectation to have. And with the amount of extra power you have and the extra refinement, honestly, it just makes it a really nice daily driver. It's the perfect modern interpretation of what you would expect an M3 to be. You know, that thing over there, it sure has a little more driver's feedback, but it feels like a go-kart, and it feels kind of like dingy and janky, and nobody's buying anything like that anymore. Like, you know, it was good in its day, but now something like this is what people want. And for like $40,000, this is a bargain. It's a really good value. I think these, as they get even more used, more miles on them, they're just going to become even better deals, and they're good buys. Maintain it, take care of it. Don't be a total idiot, and you'll be fine. So thank you, Sachin, for coming onto the channel.
No problem.
This was a fantastic car. I'm excited to see where you go with this. And with all that said, everybody, let's go ahead and give the F80 M3 a score. The F80 M3 scores here on our list, above the older M3s and below some M5s. No surprise there. The F80 M3 has some strong things going for it in the daily and weekend categories, which give it a well-rounded score. Should you buy it? The F80 M3 is approaching used car territory as they get older. At half their MSRP, they start becoming very appealing, given most of them aren't even 10 years old yet. The BMW M3 has changed an ethos over the years. Gone are the days of the analog, small, tossable sports car it once was. In its place is a well-dialed-in, fine-tuned, high-performance German super sedan that, like the old ones, still punches above its class for the price.